Danielle Drake, who I had the fortune of meeting through one of our board members. I was introduced to you as a fashion designer, and we were doing this big event, and you were going to kind of do your wedding line and actually contribute one of the dresses that was supposed to be auctioned off. And I was, as I started looking at your story and your work, it was just captivating. It captivated me immediately.
That's amazing.
So Danielle, why don't you start by saying a little bit about this conference? How was it born? Where did you get the idea for this vision? And how did you just make it happen?
Yeah, so my name is Danielle Parrish Drake, and I'm the founder of Danielle Parrish Drake Bridal. We are an ethical and affordable bridal line with a global impact. So 10% of our proceeds go to support orphans in Zimbabwe with Hope for Children's Ministries. This vision, actually, I had the opportunity last year in March of 2025. It was life-changing. Okay, I got to go speak at a conference, a women's conference in Paris, France.
Wow.
What was so great about that experience was actually Paris has always been a bucket list thing.
Yes.
I mean, I've went to USC undergrad, so it's been on my thing to do. Since 2013, me and my friends, we would just do our vision boards, and I continue to do vision board, and it would be the one thing that I would like pull over. I did that with my wedding ring too, but it didn't take that long. but Paris has
being
always
a designer,
been. I mean, just being
fashion,
a designer.
Paris is the
fashion capital.
The capital. I mean, Italy is too.
Yeah, Milan.
But Paris is so glamorous. So that was your first trip to Paris.
That was my first trip to Paris. And so I was like, wow, it was really exciting because it was like I was actually doing something instead of just going. And it's always like, I had a purpose to be there. So I felt like, okay, this is my moment. This is like my God moment for me to be there. It wasn't just to go and have fun. It was actually for me to go and speak about my life story, about everything that's involved with me starting my bridal line, which started in the pandemic. So I was a hospice chaplain for 10 years. And I thought to myself, what if I were to die tomorrow? What should I be doing today? And so that's what I spoke on, and I got to share about my bridal line, but also share about just like my past. There was so many women there that were just inspiring, and it was actually a cathartic, like spiritual moment. I felt like, because everybody came there with their passions, ready to share, and it was very intimate and very vulnerable. I cried a couple of times. Then I had to get up there and speak after I cried a couple of times, and it was just like an aha moment. So I thought to myself, like, that was so powerful. I was like, why don't I just create that same space and do something similar?
So you grew up in Hawaii.
I grew up in Hawaii.
So you're doing your conferences. It's a sort of like your home base that you're sharing with so many people.
When we're kids, we kind of take things for granted.
Oh, for
so like
sure.
growing up in a space, we're like, oh, I can't wait to go to a big city. But then now, like as I get older, I'm just like, every time I go back home, it's just like, oh, this is so beautiful. I just need to sit here and just enjoy it
and absorb it
and see it.
Well,
have
more
like
than
blue water and stuff. So. I think that it is this perfect space because we're talking about Mother Nature, but I also connected Mother Nature to motherhood and just women's empowerment because, it feels like our voices are kind of being pushed to the side. I think that's why I was like, this is the perfect space. And so that's what I want women to come to
experience.
Bring their expertise, bring their wisdom.
And share it with each other. That conference in Paris was an aha moment. It opened up something that you clearly have been thinking about.
Yes.
When did it start? Like, when did you first think, even before this conference, about wanting to have that kind of gathering? Then if you could also talk about just what led up to all of this, a little bit more about your work.
Yeah, so I got to study in New York, and when I was in New York, I was actually a seminary student. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I so want to go to fashion school. So when I left USC, I was like, I want to go to FITM. And then I said, then I could take some classes. I'm actually a PK, so I'm a preacher's kid. And so when I went to USC, I really fell in love with God more, and it became more like a personal relationship. And so I was like, I want to kind of do like the seminary thing at the same time. So I went to FIDM, and then the guy was like, what? You're gonna do seminary and fashion? He was like, no, that's not gonna work. And I was like, I can see that working. And so I went to Union Theological Seminary in New York. I got to work in New York Fashion Week. I got to be behind the scenes of fashion shows and see that whole world. It was so exciting. And I got to take classes at Dance Theater of Harlem and Alvin Ailey. So it was
and
just
you're
like,
a dancer
and
as
I'm a
well.
dancer too. So it was just like the whole arts world. That's what I've always known. Like since I was 8 years old, I knew I was wanted to be a fashion designer. And so
what were you thinking when you were 8? Like what did you see in your mind's eye?
So we had my grandma had the plastic on her table with the doilies. So
yes.
I would sit there for hours. After school, I'd come home and I would just draw shirts, clothes, dresses. And so I always knew that I wanted to be a fashion designer.
We're just coming out of you.
And then my aunt, she bought me some fashion classes in 8th grade. And
wow.
It was so funny. I was kind of turned off because the designer I was working with, she told me I was like fat, you know? And so then that kind of turned me off to fashion design because it's like you have to have this perfect, you know? But then I still came back to my first love of being a designer. During the pandemic, that's when I was pushed to what should I be doing? Yeah, so this idea of just like, what if we're not here tomorrow? What should we be doing today? What is our purpose today? What should we be doing today? So I'm always thinking what should I be doing today? And so that's when I, started my bridal line while I was at work.
Made the leap.
And then in 2022, I literally got into a car accident, closed on the home, and then the hospice I was working at closed down. And so then I was like,
so that was my
the door.
A little tap on your shoulder. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so full-fledged entrepreneurship, which is a roller coaster. But what Paris was just kind of like, it was a confirmation that I was going in the right direction. Being able to be in that space and go there, that was just like life-changing because it was just like, I'm in the right place at the right time and things that I've always wanted to do are coming in line. That's
huge, and we need external affirmations at certain junctures. They're just needed. Was there anything else at the conference that you took away with you that besides a knowing that you're on the right path and that this is something you're going to actually take seriously and start?
It was like everyone that came, we all had different stories, but there was like a common thread.
What was that thread?
And that common thread was just the expectation. We came with expectations.
About the conference?
About the conference, but also we had expectations for ourselves and the conference. And it kind of collided. So it's like each person had a different story, but we all had something that was threaded through. I can't explain it. It was just like somebody would talk and was like, I believe that same way, you know? And so it was like each woman's story, there was a common thread of like women supporting women or community or being able to be vulnerable and intimate in spaces where people come from corporate, people come from a creative background, people come from just a spiritual background. So everybody was just coming, but it was just like we were able to be ourselves. I think that was exciting. Powerful. It's just like we didn't have to put on a show. So people came and they were like, I was going to speak on this, but I want to speak on this. And so everybody was really vulnerable. So people were talking about healing from diseases or just life-changing moments, hard moments, and transitioning through those hard moments. And so everybody's story was a culmination of them saying, I'm here, I have a story to share and I survived.
Yes.
And so when I have been speaking to women, and it was so encouraging to meet you and your story and how you're helping to bring the next generation into being able to tell their stories, right? Girls in Focus is about telling stories through film and through art. And that's what we're all doing, is just being able to tell our stories and have someone say, hey, that resonated with me.
Yes.
You know, I really felt that. So that's been what's been exciting to meet you, because you know so many women, and you know their stories.
With Girls in Focus, it's certainly connecting with this new generation that brings with it so much amazing, unexpected sometimes wisdom, and then connecting with the industry women that do come back and give back, and that synergy. We are realizing, all of us collectively, that we have been pulled apart, and that our strength is from all the similarities between all of us, you know, globally. This is such a celebration, and the fact that you want to do it, you said more than once a year. So this is the first one coming out, and thank you for inviting me to come.
Thanks for coming.
I am beyond over the moon. I just want to underscore, and maybe I don't want to belabor this, but at the same time, I recognize it. I've been through life to know that this isn't just a decision, it's like a profound decision, because it's not easy to pull all this together, but it's also going to reverberate in a way that you can't even predict. And just the timing of it is also very auspicious, you know. So right now, with all the negativity and influences on every single human in the world, being in that environment and connecting to nature is even more profound than normal.
Nature just has a way of grounding you, you know, and there is a lot going on. I mean, when you just open your phone, it's just something always happening. And I think it makes us like really tired, and like how you were saying, disconnected. And so I think this is a space for us to just heal, you know, release our tiredness, give it to God, give it to the earth, and really truly connect. A lot of times we have this idea in our mind, and it's like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna get it done? And then there's just moments where it's just like starts falling into place, and then it's like, okay, that's confirmation. Like I really believe in God, the Holy Spirit, giving me confirmation, giving me signs. And so I was just like, okay, this is what I want to do. And then it started, you know, starting to fall into place, and it's like, okay, it's gonna happen. It's gonna be happening, and it's gonna be exciting, and it's not about me, you know. I think that's what was so exciting, was just like in that space, you know, sometimes we have this influencer culture where it's just like you have to have so many followers, or you have to get so many sales, or you have to me, like really kind of ego driven. But it's just like everybody has something to say, and everybody has wisdom. And everybody can learn from everyone. Like you were saying, you learn from the youth. Like I learned from, I have a 7 and a 5-year-old, and I learn about myself from them. Everyone has a voice, and we all have autonomy, and we should be able to share that and speak that.
Yes. And so you are kind of, you know, and this interests me personally very much, the whole spiritual aspect of things, of life. And you're sort of a professional spiritual authority, having done this kind of work that is really deeply challenging, deeply informing of the human condition in a way that most things are not, that are more ego-driven, like this industry, the film, and, you know, it is a whole different kind of focus, and you're focusing on internal life. I guess I just want to tie it in with this conference, because I got the sense when I met you that there was a deeply spiritual aspect to this, on top of all that we've already said. And I do believe that we need that support right now in that realm, and that nature provides that. We just don't know how and when, and we need guidance, and you seem to be that guide. Do you see yourself that way?
You know, I went to seminary school, and I was like, God, why am I here? I don't want to be in a pulpit, you know. I don't see myself being in a church or leading from a church. And I felt like I was saying, like, you can do ministry. Ministry is service, right? To serve, and you can serve wherever you go. You can serve on the street. You can serve at your job. You can serve in the arts, and you can create. And I really think that today, in this time and age, really affirming that God is love. Jesus' teachings of helping those that don't have. And so just affirming that, like, hey, you know, this is what I believe, and despite some negative religious concepts, there's a God of love and there's a God of peace. And those are the concepts that I believe in, that I was raised in. Feeling that, I guess, a lot of times I kind of push against being one to kind of lead. But I guess you bring people together, it's kind of like a way where you're guiding people.
Did you learn this from your father?
Yeah, my dad was really, really just powerful. He was a Baptist raised, so my grandpa was a preacher too.
Wow.
And my dad was in the civil rights movement. We would go out on Oahu and we would bring Zippy's chili. Like, if anybody's from Oahu, they know about Zippy's, but we get Zippy's chili, we feed the poor and bring people in.
I felt like just as girls and growing into women, having that foundational love is so important, because we need a lot of external validation.
Yeah.
And that kind of, my dad just always, he was a documentary filmmaker, but he always made me feel like $1,000,000.
Yeah.
He was gifted that way. He had this like radiant kind of energy that I really, now that he's not around anymore, I value so much, and I still draw from it.
My father passed in 2016. So he was, like I was talking about him earlier, he was in the civil rights movement, and he got to meet Kennedy, and just really working very stringent in bringing people together. And so this is kind of like my 10 years without him. And so it's been, you know how it's just like unexpected. You never thought your dad wouldn't be there.
Right.
And so it has been difficult. I'm actually in the process, because I did hospice chaplaincy and worked in grief, in the process of finishing a book, Dance with My Father,
I love that.
self-help and memoir book on grief. There's always like this wisdom that you have, and even though he's not here to play with my kids, I try to pass it on to them.
When do you foresee your book coming out?
I hope this year, as a 10-year anniversary
commemoration.
Yeah, commemoration.
Yes.
And so
I love that.
I hope to, in our next conference, have it and give it to people in hand.
Yes. Well, you are such a Renaissance woman. You are so multifaceted, so talented in all these different ways. You have your clothing line, wedding line, which is so gorgeous and kind of combines the Hawaiian spirit and sort of plays with the whole precept of wedding dresses, stuff that just the joy of designing, and with your roots in Hawaii, it's very visible. So what else, where can people find you?
And you can find me, my Instagram is @SHOP, Shop DPD Bridal. You can also reach me at www.shopdpdbridal.com. And our venue, we're taking bookings for the end of 2026 and 2027. So the Garden of Aloha wedding venue. And like I said, all of our proceeds, 10% of our proceeds, go to support our friends in Zimbabwe.
Wow.
So
incredible.
Yes.
Incredible.
Danielle Parish Drake Bridal.
And the conference is going to be March 5th and 6th.
Yes.
And you still are open to people attending.
We have a couple more spaces. So if anybody wants to speak and share and be a part of this great opportunity to network, but then also expand. I think a lot of people expanded after. So we're all there to bloom. We're in nature to bloom.
Thank you so much. I just want to say, is there anything else you want to add?
I do custom gowns too, so it's not just bridal. Anyone wants a custom gown, we also do rentals.
Yeah, thank you for sharing
for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Danielle.
Thank you so much, Danielle. Blessings.